Hey everyone, Alex here. So in today's tutorial, we're going to talk about ideas, how to get them, how to stay within a creative place so that we can allow more ideas to come, and how to develop them further. Let's get into it. Ideas come to us all the time. The problem is trying to remember them. Now I'm sure you've experienced this before. You have an amazing idea, this lightning moment, and then you forget it all of a sudden. And what you're probably not doing is writing your ideas down in a notebook. Now, this is one of the best habits I can recommend for you to get yourself into. And the reason being is two things are going to happen. Number one, by writing it down, you're increasing the chances that your brain's going to remember that information because you're forcing it to do more detailed work. The other thing is you're going to be able to go back, look at your ideas, build upon them, develop them, combine them with other ideas. You need to start keeping a log of all your ideas, otherwise you're going to forget them. For me, every project I have starts in one of these. This is the first place. Well, the first place is here. This is the first place that it's written down though. I always keep my notebook by my bed at night, and the reason being is as I'm becoming more tired and starting to drift off to sleep, I have my best and most creative ideas. You might find this as well, and it's actually extremely common. The reason why is the left side of your brain, or the left hemisphere, which is responsible for cognitive functions, starts to become more tired as you're falling asleep. And the right side, or the right hemisphere, becomes more engaged, and this is responsible for creativity and facial recognition. So that's why you'll be getting better ideas at night. Now, if you've tried writing notes and it just doesn't work for you, or you keep forgetting to bring your notepad with you, what you could use is your phone to write notes in. With this phone, I've also got Microsoft Word, or you might have Pages, depending on what device you're using, but you could use that to write your ideas. Or you could use a laptop if you have that, or maybe an iPad or tablet, whatever you've got at your disposal. I do have to say that physically writing it with a pen and paper, for me, is the absolute best way to guarantee that that information stays within my head. If writing your ideas down in a notebook just doesn't work for you, use your phone to record voice notes to yourself. So an example of when I used this was at night. I didn't want to switch on a light and start writing down ideas. So instead, I just opened up the voice note section, spoke all the ideas that I had, and kind of had a conversation with myself. I know it sounds a bit silly, but trust me, this really works. And then the next day, I listened back to it and just transcribed some of the key ideas that I wanted to take away from that. And that was really useful because it can be quite a quick way to record notes, especially if you can't write fast enough or you can't type your ideas fast enough. You can just speak them into your phone and then type them up later. So what if you're having difficulty coming up with ideas in the first place? What do? Well, the best thing is to start with what you already know. So write about yourself, your family, your friends, things that have already happened to you. Write down the incidents that happen within a day, and then you'll start to develop an understanding for how events shift the story. Another thing that you could do is look up old fables and stories from old books and then adapt them by setting them in modern day. So an example of this is Bridget Jones's Diary, which was taken from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. You could actually take this really far by changing the characters' names, ages, genders, the time, the location, everything about it. And there's quite a few good examples of this, including The Lion King, which is adapted from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Play with perspective. You could tell the story from the villain's point of view instead of the hero's, or you could focus on a more minor character's perspective. You could also use foreign cinema as inspiration. There are loads of Western modern-day films that were adapted from foreign cinema films, such as The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was originally a Swedish film, or The Magnificent Seven, which was originally The Seven Samurai. And there are literally tons upon tons of examples of this. Maybe there's one that you know that you could adapt yourself. Another thing that you could do to inspire yourself and help you come up with ideas is to listen to music. There are loads of times where I'll be listening to a particular song and I'll start imagining this location or these characters and this feeling and these events that happen. Start writing those down and you'll already be pulling a story just off of that song. Or you could use music in another way. Sometimes I'll go onto YouTube and type in studying music or concentrating music. So it's not going to be a song that you're going to recognize. It's not going to be something that you can sing along to, obviously. It's going to be something that kind of sits in the back of your mind. And I find it really helps me concentrate, especially when I'm in the writing stage of a project and I'm trying to think about what a character might say or what the camera is going to do or what the audience is going to see. Because when the room's just like this, it kind of saps the energy because it's just completely flat. But when you've got some sort of rhythm or some music, but not too distracting, just there kind of in the background, it kind of helps with creativity. At least I find that. Research. Find out about things that interest and excite you. It could be about an event in history or a particular person, the origin of a product or a company. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just find something that you're excited to learn more about and write a story about it. I talked a bit about constraints in my previous video, and they are an excellent way to help you utilize whatever you have available. So think about the locations that you can shoot in, the people or actors that you can use, props that you might have, equipment that you have, and use those to your advantage. Don't think about what you don't have. Think about what you do have and build a story based on what you have available. Try playing the what if game. So how this could work is, say I go, what if I hear a knock at the door? What if I then open the door? What if there's no one there on the other side? What if I hear a noise inside my living room? What if I go to the living room but there's nothing there, but the window's open? So you already, just through improvising, I've created a whole story, some sort of horror thriller. You could use that yourself. You could also do it in groups as well. If you have someone else, it's sometimes better to bounce ideas off of. Watch films, watch TV shows, watch YouTube videos or music videos, read books. Look at paintings, photographs. Start to take note of the world around you. Allow yourself to be inspired by it. Stay up to date with current affairs. So look at the news, read the newspaper. You could write about things that are happening right now. You'd be making relevant content by doing so. An example of this is I worked with 2 actors last year on 2 short films all about COVID and being in quarantine. And we actually included some of the broadcasts from Boris when he first announced the first ever lockdown. You could use what's happening around you to influence your own work. Human interest stories. You could write about public figures or people that you know, people that inspire you, and use that to help you write new characters. The character Captain Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean is based on the real-life rock and roll guitarist from the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards. Try setting yourself targets to help keep you on track. So maybe one goal is to write in your notebook once a day for 5 minutes, or another one is to watch 1 new film a week or listen to 1 new album a week, or all of them. It doesn't really matter what they are, but what we're trying to do is build up good habits to help us stay creative for longer periods of time. You want to receive the world around you, and I know that sounds a bit like a funny sentence, but what I mean by that is you want to be open to everything that's going on in the world, in your world, around you, taking that information and allow it to inspire you to write stories, to come up with ideas. Everyone has their own unique voice, and your goal as a filmmaker, as a movie maker, is to listen to that voice that you have inside you and create something and show it to the world. Because we all have our own unique way of taking in the world around us, our own interpretation of things, and that's what we're trying to access. That's what we're trying to develop. What is your view? What is your perspective on the world? And share it with everyone. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with some optional tasks to do if you're struggling to make a start. So the first one is to write a story. It can be 10 seconds long, it can be 10 minutes long. It doesn't really matter the length. You just want to concentrate on the beginning, middle, and end. The second is to take a photo. Now, this can be with your phone or a camera, whatever you have available. It doesn't really matter about the quality. What you're trying to do with this photo is to tell a story with an image. So you can use what props you have around you or people if you have access to that. It can be of absolutely anything, but what we're trying to get into the habit of is telling stories through images, which is what filmmaking is all about. And that's it. Thank you all for watching. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time for filming with your phone and editing with your phone. Bye, guys.